Hello, clay friends. I'm going to talk a little bit about ways to refine the eyes and mouth and talk a little bit about the details. So just to review, for our eye, we're going to roll out 2 balls the same size, and we're going to carve a hole down into the skull after we decided where to place them so that our eyeball can go in at least halfway. And then we're going to press it in with the rounded part of our hand or just press around the edges because we don't want to lose that curve. Part of the positive or benefit of doing it this way is we keep that rounded eyeball look. And then we're going to add some eyelids on top of it by rolling out some carrot shape. And let's pretend this is our nose area right in here. So we're going to start with the small end of the carrot in towards the nose, and we're going to wrap that around. The shape's going to vary depending on what kind of animal you're working with, but we're going to wrap that around, and we're going to blend that in with the rounded end of a wooden tool. I'm going to dip it in water just a little bit to blend that. So I'm dragging a lot of that coil, at least half of that coil, I'm dragging it down and I'm blending it onto the rest of the face without touching where the coil meets the eyeball. We want to kind of preserve that to look like the actual eyelid area. So we're trying to preserve that line. And I'll show you how to use a couple of tools. If for some reason it gets overworked and you lose that line, I'll show you how you can kind of recreate that line. So let's get a close up here. So this is just the bottom. We're going to pretend this is the nose over here, and this is the bottom eyelid and our eyeball there. Take another carrot, skinny end of the carrot towards the nose. We're going to wrap that up and around. And here you can play with different expressions. You can make your character or animal or human figure look more complacent or sleepy by bringing this eyelid down quite a bit. You can make it more alert or surprised by keeping the upper lid all the way at the top. So we're just going to pinch off the extra. I'll show you up close again what we've got. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the round end of the wooden knife tool, dip it in water just a little bit, and I'm going to drag at least half of the clay from that coil up on to the rest of the face. And I'm going to avoid the area that touches the eyeball. Again, we're trying to preserve, that's super roughed in. We're trying to preserve that area that looks like the eyelid. Some animals look like they have eyelashes, or they do have eyelashes, like does. If you want to do something kind of doe-eyed and make it look like it has eyelashes, you can leave a little bit extra on this upper lid, and you can kind of pinch that up and exaggerate that and make that look like eyelashes if you want to. It just creates a little bit of a shadow and will make it give the illusion of kind of some eyelashes there. But the main thing that I think people are having questions on is if you've worked it a lot and start to lose some of these lines, or maybe if your eyes are uneven, how can you get those lines back with some tools? And let me be honest, a lot of times it's actually quicker just to, depending on how overworked it is, a lot of times it's quicker just to dig the eye out and start all over. So I frequently, if it's way off, I'll just dig the eye out and start over. But if it's just a minor adjustment, one of the eyes is a little bit deeper or shallower, or maybe the angle's a little bit off, or a really common thing is this little piece that is in towards the nose. Sometimes that little spot gets lost. I'm going to show you how to use a couple of tools. So this is the Philip Faroot eye tool, and it has 2 different ends for 2 different size eyes. This is a rubber tipped sculpting tool. A lot of times I'll just use a kitchen skewer, and then I use a paintbrush and water to go over it to refine it. And sometimes I just use the sharp end of the wooden knife tool. A lot of times this little area, almost all animals and people have this little area right here. So the wooden knife tool is actually kind of nice for that. Hold that up, just to kind of clean that out if you've lost that. And then I'll just work a combination of my rubber tip tool. You can run it around the edges if you've lost the definition and just need to redefine where the eyelid ends and turns into an eyeball, you can just run the rubber tip tool around the edges, and that'll give you that, that edge back. I prefer to do this when it's firmed up. So this clay I'm working on right now is just wet. You saw me just put the eye together, and you can see it's kind of making a gooey mess. So if you want to do this, I prefer to set this aside a couple hours and come back later and do it when it's not so gooey. It's actually a lot easier to work on those details once it's firmed up a little bit. The other tool is this Philip Fruit eye tool. And if you've worked it too much and say your pupil has gotten kind of flat, you can use the eye tool to come in, and if you press it down at an angle, you can just press along the edges here and press the edges of the eyeball in, and you can get that rounded shape back. And it's also got a nice shape here, so you can go in and clean out or work this little area of the eye that's closest to the nose there. And again, I would do this after it's firmer, but this rounded inside part is good to kind of smooth off the eyeball too. You can do the exact same thing with a skewer. So I can go in with a kitchen skewer. I'm just dipping the tip in water, but you can go around with a skewer and just run it around this bottom edge and clean that up and give that more definition. And then the last thing that I do is I take a clean paintbrush, dip it in water, and I just brush the water over there, over the area that I've worked on, to smooth out any tool marks and blend that all together and make it look like it's all part of the same face, so that it's not separate coils showing up. So hold this up close. So the main methods that I use for cleanup are, if I've overworked it and lost definition, going in with something sharp, rubber tool or an eye tool or a kitchen skewer, and redefining that area. And then again, using a clean paintbrush and just water to go over and smooth it off. You can do the same thing for the lips. So there was questions about how to redefine the lips, I think. So let me pull up this demo wolf that's been in process. Let me put him sideways. Let's see here, so you can see that lip a little bit. Actually, go this way. So this is the demo wolf that we've been working on in videos, and you can see it's lost some definition down here because it's been worked on for a lot of different demos. And I haven't even put the nose in on this one or anything. I've just got some indications of where the nostrils are going to go. But I can use the same tools to redefine this. I can go in with a skewer, I dipped it in water, and I can run that along that lip line. I'm gonna go up and start to gently redefine that. You can do the same thing with a rubber tip tool if you want to use the rubber tool. And then again, once I've kind of cleaned that up a little bit, I want to take a paintbrush and just go over that with some water, and that'll blend the tool lines away and make it look a little bit smoother. If I've worked it so much where like the chin has disappeared or the lip has disappeared, I'll just take another coil, a tiny, tiny coil. So I would just roll something out just this small, and I could add a whole nother coil right on top there if I felt like I needed more of a lip or more of a chin down there, and add that and blend that really well. So I'll hold that up there a little bit. Again, this is just really rough. I would keep working on this. I would get back up in there deeper. But since it's not done, I'm not going to overwork it. So it's basically the same method and tool as the eye, just working down for the lip area. So those are some tips for cleaning up or redefining the nose and the eye. I hope that helps. If you have a specific problem, feel free to send me an email with a picture or something, and we'll see if we can't address that. But for now, I hope this helps. Thanks.